Welcome to the deep dive. Today, I want you to step outside the traditional classroom for a moment, beyond the textbooks, and think about your digital learning space. How do you, or maybe someone you know, learn something new these days? Especially when it comes to STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, math. There's this quiet but really profound revolution unfolding right there on our screens. It's fundamentally changing how millions, literally millions of people are acquiring knowledge. So our mission in this deep dive is pretty clear. We're going to unpack the incredible impact of two really distinct but also surprisingly complementary pioneers in online STEM education, Khan Academy and 3blue1brown. Think of it as a journey, right? We want to understand not just what they teach, but how they teach it. Why do they even start? What are the unique philosophies that make them so effective? We'll distill the most vital insights from the source material we've gathered, essentially giving you a shortcut to being really well-informed about this whole educational transformation. Get ready for some, I think, pretty surprising facts and practical insights into how learning actually happens today.
Yeah.
We'll dig into their fascinating origin stories, their unique teaching approaches, their pedagogies, their production styles, and yeah, the massive ripple effect they've had on, well, the entire educational landscape. What's really fascinating here, I think, is how this whole landscape of modern education has been so profoundly altered. And not by some, grand government mandate or a top-down university plan. No, it was independent creators, just individuals harnessing the power of the internet. And that led to this entirely new educational paradigm. It's such a striking contrast when you look at these two specifically. On one hand, you've got Khan Academy. It started as this simple act of family tutoring, right? And it just ballooned into this sprawling global nonprofit institution. It's basically a vast digital library of knowledge. And then on the other side, you have 3blue1brown. That came from one mathematician's deeply personal coding project. And it became this unique beacon of visual intuition. It feels more like a curated art gallery showing off the beauty of math. But together, they represent these two fundamental pillars of this new paradigm. Their stories, they clearly show that the most profound innovations can really spring from the most unexpected places, often driven by a deeply personal need or sometimes, just a passionate side project. So our journey into this educational revolution really begins with a story that's, well, as accidental as it is inspiring. The rise of Khan Academy. This wasn't some calculated corporate strategy to, quote, disrupt education from the top down. Not at all. It was an authentic bottom-up solution to a very, very relatable human problem that it scaled beyond belief. Its origins are famously humble, actually. It all kicked off back in August 2004. It started as a long-distance tutoring session. Sal Khan, at the time, he was a hedge fund analyst, degrees from MIT and Harvard, so, smart guy. He started helping his young cousin, Nadia. She needed help with unit conversions in math. Now, picture this. She was in New Orleans. He was in Boston. How did they do it? Telephone and Yahoo. Doodle images. Yeah, basically drawing online while talking on the phone. Phone calls and a pretty rudimentary online drawing tool. That's about as bare bones as it gets for a beginning, isn't it? Really basic stuff. But then something happened. Nadia's understanding visibly improved. And soon, other family members, friends, they started asking Sal for help too. That's when the logistics got tricky, right? Trying to schedule all these individual sessions just became impossible for him. And this challenge, it led him to a really pivotal decision around 2006. He started recording his lessons as videos and uploading them to YouTube. Now, what's often forgotten, and I find this part absolutely delightful, is how skeptical he was at first. He famously thought YouTube was, and I quote, for dogs on skateboards, not for serious mathematics. Dogs on skateboards. Love that quote. Because it just perfectly captures how quickly things can shift when you're actually listening to your audience, when you see a real need. Because the response he got from complete strangers watching these videos, it was overwhelmingly positive. People left comments expressing just profound gratitude. They were saying things like, these videos help them pass classes, get into college, or finally understand concepts that had always baffled them before. That feedback loop, that was absolutely transformative for Sal Khan. It just revealed this massive, unmet need for clear, accessible, on-demand instruction people could access anytime, anywhere. Spurred by this realization, Khan incorporated Khan Academy as a 501c nonprofit as a tax-exempt charity in the U.S. back in 2008. And then in 2009, he made that huge decision. He quit his lucrative finance job, left it behind to dedicate himself full-time to this project. He lived off his personal savings for 9 months. Now, that was a serious leap of faith. Wouldn't you agree? That takes real conviction. He clearly had this deep personal belief that this was way more than just a side project. This was something important. The project reached a really critical tipping point with its first significant donation, which came from Endure, And that was quickly followed in September 2010 by these transformative grants from tech giants and major philanthropies. Google gave $2 million. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation contributed $1.5 million. That initial capital, that seed money, it allowed him to actually build a formal organization, hire a small team, and really start scaling his vision. And from that foundational support, they solidified their mission. It's the same mission that guides them today, to provide a free, world-class education for anyone, anywhere. It's a really powerful, clear statement of purpose. Khan himself has said he was deeply inspired by MIT's OpenCourseWare project, which had already started sharing university lectures online for free. That was already signaling this powerful shift toward open access to knowledge. This whole origin story just suggests that the most powerful educational innovations can genuinely emerge from outside the formal system. Often driven by very practical needs rather than, big institutional strategies, it grew organically. Okay, so now let's talk about the core of what Khan Academy actually does. It's pedagogy. How does it operationalize this idea of mastery learning, but like at a massive scale? The pedagogical philosophy, it's built on two pretty well-established educational concepts: mastery learning and the flipped classroom. Sal Khan, especially in his influential TED Talks, he argues really passionately against the traditional system. The one that pushes students forward based on a fixed schedule like a calendar, regardless of whether they actually understood the previous material. He calls this creating Swiss cheese gaps in learning, little holes everywhere. And that was exactly the issue his cousin Nadia was facing initially. So the fundamental idea is simple but powerful. Students must master a concept before they move on to the next one. No more leaving those foundational holes in their understanding. You build brick by brick. That really is the core of mastery learning. And the Khan Academy platform, the website, the apps, it's specifically engineered to make this possible at a massive scale. How? Well, it combines this huge library, over 10,000 short, bite-sized video lessons, with a whole suite of online tools. There are thousands of supplementary practice problems, instant feedback mechanisms so you know right away if you got it right or wrong, and personalized progress tracking. You can see exactly what you've mastered and what you still need to work on. This entire structure, it empowers students to learn at their own pace. They can repeat lessons, they can do practice exercises as many times as they need until they achieve true understanding. That agency is key. And for teachers, it enables what's famously known as the flipped classroom model. This has become pretty common now. Teachers can assign Khan Academy videos for students to watch at home, as homework basically, which then frees up that valuable in-person class time. And what do you do with that time? Well, now you can do more interactive activities, project-based learning, collaborative problem solving, maybe even more one-on-one support for students who need it. The teacher dashboard is also really crucial here. It allows teachers to monitor student progress in detail. They can see who's struggling with what concept, who's flying ahead. This lets instructors differentiate their teaching much more effectively. They can provide targeted help where it's needed most, while allowing those who've already mastered the material to maybe move on or work on enrichment activities. What's really insightful here, I think, is that the innovation isn't really about inventing some brand new pedagogy. It's not a totally new way of teaching. It's about using technology to make proven, effective pedagogical models like mastery learning both scalable and affordable. Finally practical, The principles of mastery learning, for instance, they were articulated by the educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom way back in the 1960s. This isn't new stuff. And in his famous 2 Sigma problem study back in 1984, Bloom showed something remarkable. He found that students receiving one-on-one tutoring based on these mastery principles performed 2 standard deviations better than students in a traditional classroom setting. 2 standard deviations. That's huge. For decades, this one-on-one mastery tutoring was considered the absolute gold standard of instruction. But, think about it. It was logistically impossible and just prohibitively expensive to implement for every single student. How could you possibly do that? So Khan Academy's brilliance isn't just in creating all that content. It's in providing the technological infrastructure, the platform, that finally makes Bloom's decades-old gold standard of mastery learning a global reality. It shifted it from this theoretical ideal to a practical, scalable model, something previously thought just completely impossible. It really shows a key role for educational technology, right? It's not necessarily about inventing entirely new ways of teaching, but maybe more about overcoming the practical and economic constraints that have historically held back the widespread adoption of the most effective known pedagogical models. Tech makes the impossible possible. And their production engine, the power of low fidelity. It's iconic, really. When you think of Khan Academy, especially the early stuff, you probably picture that digital blackboard, right? That simplicity is absolutely key. In the early days, Sal Khan's setup was, rudimentaries, putting it mildly. He used a Wacom tablet, some basic drawing software, Yahoo Doodle, Smooth Draw, even Microsoft Paint sometimes, and a simple $20 microphone. That was it. The format is famously Spartan, just a conversational voiceover explaining a concept as it's being written out or drawn on the screen. This low-fidelity approach, it stands in really stark contrast to the high production values you see in many other popular educational channels today. But here's the profound psychological hack. Maybe unintentional at first, but powerful. This aesthetic wasn't a bug. It turned out to be a feature. A huge feature. The unpolished, direct style was absolutely crucial to its early appeal. Why? Because it simulated that informal one-on-one tutoring session experience. It felt almost like a knowledgeable, patient friend sketching out an explanation for you on a notepad. By, eschewing all the slip production, Sal Khan implicitly told learners, look, I'm just like you, sketching out an idea here. I'm not some distant, formal authority figure. And this fostered an intimacy and trust that those high-gloss, super-polished videos often fail to achieve. It fundamentally redefined the very authority of an online educator. It proved that authenticity can really trump polish. This stripped-down presentation, it lowered the psychological barrier for learners, especially for those who might be anxious or intimidated by the formality of traditional educational materials. The singular focus was just on the clarity and the logic of the explanation itself. No distracting graphics, no slick editing getting in the way. That tutor next door quality, it built the sense of trust and authenticity. It proved that clarity and a direct conversational tone can actually be far more powerful than high production value when it comes to fostering real understanding. Simple can be better. Now here's where it gets really interesting today. Khanmigo and the AI tutor. This is absolutely Khan Academy's next frontier, and it's a direct response to a persistent challenge in online learning. In March 2023, Khan Academy launched Khanmigo. It's an AI-powered guide and tutor built using OpenAI's GPT-4 technology. Sal Khan sees AI as the technology that can finally deliver the holy grail of education, a personal, artificially intelligent tutor for every single student. At last, a real attempt to solve Bloom's 2 sigma problem at a truly global scale. See, one of the persistent critiques of online learning platforms, including Khan Academy's earlier versions, has been the lack of genuine dynamic interactivity, the lack of personalized feedback. While the original platform successfully scaled content delivery and practice problems, which was huge, it couldn't really replicate that responsive, personalized dialogue you get with a great human tutor. Khanmigo aims to fill that critical gap. It's engineered not to just spit out answers that's easy for AI. Instead, it tries to engage students in a kind of Socratic dialogue, guiding them, prompting them, helping them discover solutions on their own, more like a real tutor would. And it's pretty impressive how it extends beyond just STEM subjects, too. Yeah, it can act as a writing coach, help students debug computer code, and it can even simulate conversations with historical figures. Imagine chatting with, Marie Curie about her research. For teachers, Khanmigo serves as an AI assistant. It can help draft lesson plans, create quizzes, generate progress reports. The idea is to free up educators to focus on those higher-value interactions with their students, the human connection stuff. This also marks a pretty pivotal shift in Khan Academy's business model, which is worth noting. While the vast library of core content, all those videos and practice problems, remains 100% free forever, Khanmigo is offered as a subscription-based service for families. Importantly, though, philanthropy covers the significant computational costs for all U.S. teachers, which shows a real commitment to equity. They don't want teachers paying out of pocket. This hybrid model, nonprofit with a premium service, it introduces a sustainable revenue stream. This approach might well represent a new standard for the ed tech sector. It allows these mission-driven organizations to maintain their commitment to free access for the core stuff, while simultaneously funding the intensive research, development, and operational costs that come with cutting-edge technologies like generative AI. It looks like a viable answer to that tricky long-term financial sustainability question. Okay, so from Khan Academy's massive global library, let's shift our focus now. We're moving to a very different, yet equally profound innovator, 3blue1brown. This is where mathematics is really transformed into an art form. Where Khan Academy built this global institution to democratize access to the curriculum, Grant Sanderson's 3blue1brown forged a whole new art form, really, to democratize access to mathematical intuition. Big difference. Like I said earlier, it feels more like a curated gallery than a comprehensive library. It's focused on revealing the underlying beauty, the logic, the elegance of mathematics. And its origin, its pedagogy, its whole production process stand in really fascinating contrast to Khan Academy's. It highlights a complementary but equally revolutionary approach to education. So let's talk about the mathematician artist himself, Grant Sanderson. His journey began with coding, interestingly enough, not directly with teaching, which is pretty unique for an educator of his impact. Grant Sanderson is a Stanford University graduate, degrees in both math and computer science. He actually spent some time as a content fellow at Khan Academy. From 2015 to 2016, he produced videos and articles there, specifically on multivariable calculus. But the seed for 3blue1brown, that was planted a bit earlier, back in 2015. And it started as a personal side project, just something he was doing for himself. Sanderson wanted to improve his programming skills, right? So he decided to build his own graphics library, entirely in Python. And this library became MANIM, M-A-N-I-M, short for Mathematical Animation Engine. So the channel itself, 3blue1brown, was actually a byproduct of creating this tool.
Yeah, exactly.
The channel wasn't the main goal at first. It was born because he decided, okay, I'll create a few videos using this engine I'm building, partly just to give his coding project a clear goal, a purpose. This origin story is absolutely fundamental to understanding 3blue1brown. Unlike Khan Academy, which adopted existing off-the-shelf tools like screen capture software and drawing tablets, 3blue1brown's content is just inextricably linked to the custom tools Sanderson built himself. The educational videos and the animation engine MANIM, they evolved together in this truly symbiotic relationship. It was back and forth. The need to explain a new mathematical concept would drive him to develop a new feature in MANIM. And then, in turn, new capabilities in MANIM would unlock totally novel ways to visualize and explain mathematics, ways he couldn't have done before. This reveals, I think, a really profound principle. Truly authentic educational content can arise when the creator has that granular, detailed control over their production tools. It allows them to craft a medium that is perfectly suited to the message they want to convey. The tool serves the pedagogy. Now, what's fascinating here is the pedagogy of discovery, and his whole inventing math approach is quite different. Sanderson sees the central failure of a lot of traditional math education as a profound lack of motivation. Kids just aren't interested, right? They don't see the point. So his goal explicitly is to use animation to elucidate and motivate difficult topics, to make them feel simple and intuitive by presenting them from a completely different perspective, often a visual one. He talks a lot about fostering wonder, emotion, and imagination, rather than just rote memorization of formulas and procedures. So how does he actually achieve that? Well, a core tenet of his pedagogy is this inversion of the traditional explanatory model you see in textbooks. Sanderson deliberately resists beginning with a formal abstract definition followed by examples, that structure. Definition, theorem, proof, example. He finds that alienating for many people. Instead, he almost always starts with a concrete, motivating example, or maybe a visually captivating puzzle, something intriguing. Think about his famous video showing two blocks colliding on a frictionless plane. You watch these blocks click back and forth, and the number of collisions magically, somehow, computes the digits of pi. It's bizarre and beautiful. He presents the phenomena first. He generates genuine curiosity. He makes you lean in and ask, wait, what? Why does that happen? Then the mathematical explanation comes, and it feels like a satisfying reveal, a solution to a puzzle the viewer is already invested in solving. He explicitly states that for him, topic definitions should not be seen as a starting point, but an ending point. You arrive at the definition after understanding why it matters. So he essentially makes you want to know the answer before he even begins to explain it. That's incredibly powerful for engagement. It pulls you in. He's also very clear, though, that his videos are intended as a supplemental intuition builder. They are not a replacement for formal teaching, or crucially for rigorous practice. His mantra on this is very straightforward, very blunt. Problems, problems, problems. Learning comes from solving things. He repeats this often. He understands implicitly that the videos build that crucial intuition, that feel for the subject. But true, deep understanding is forged only through active engagement with the material yourself. You have to do the work. And the heart of his visual style, the soul of it really, is MANIM, that animation engine he built. What makes it so unique compared to other animation software out there? Well, what distinguishes MANIM is that its animations are programmatically generated. This is the key insight. This is not simply an artist drawing a diagram that looks mathematical. The code, written in Python to create a visual, directly reflects the mathematical operations being explained. The code is the math, in a sense. For example, when a 3blue1brown video shows a vector being transformed by a matrix, stretching, rotating, it's not just an artist's interpretation of that transformation. The code is literally applying the matrix's mathematical rules to the vector's coordinates and then rendering the result visually, step by step. This creates a level of conceptual integrity and precision that's frankly impossible to achieve otherwise. The animation isn't just illustrating the math. In a very real way, it is the math. It embodies the logic. This programmatic approach ensures the visuals are not just beautiful, and they're often stunningly beautiful, but they're also rigorous visual proofs in themselves. And by open sourcing Manum, Sanderson has done something more profound than just sharing his videos. He has shared his entire methodology. He's fostered a whole community around the tool. They've encouraged the development of more stable, user-friendly versions like Manum Community, while he continues to use his own version, ManumGL, kind of as his personal testbed for new ideas. This act has empowered an entire ecosystem of other creators to adopt his visual language, his style, and apply it to totally new topics in math, physics, computer science, you name it. It's like a master craftsman not only selling his finished works, but also giving away his unique set of tools and teaching his techniques to a whole new generation, ensuring the craft itself continues to evolve and flourish beyond him. That's a powerful legacy. The creation process for 3blue1brown, as you might imagine from all this, is also incredibly meticulous. It's really time-intensive. It's truly an artisan's approach, which contrasts so sharply with, say, early Khan Academy. The difference is really stark. In the early days, Sal Khan could maybe record several tutorial-style videos in a single afternoon if he was focused. A single 3blue1brown video, on the other hand, can easily take Sanderson a month, sometimes significantly more, to research, script, code, animate, narrate, and edit. This highlights a fundamental dichotomy in educational content creation. There are different models, different goals. The process involves extensive research and scripting, often involving many rewrites to get the explanation just right, to find that perfect intuitive angle. A significant portion of the time, maybe even the majority, is dedicated to writing new code within Manum, generating novel visualizations that haven't been done before, like for his seminal, groundbreaking video on the Fourier transform. That took immense effort. And he collaborates with world-class experts to ensure accuracy, too. This isn't just him alone in a room. For example, for a recent video explaining the cosmic distance ladder, how we measure distances in space, he worked closely with Field's medal-winning mathematician Terence Tao, one of the best mathematicians alive. He conducted an unscripted interview with Tao, built the video's narrative around their conversation, and then Tao later provided clarifications and corrections to ensure absolute rigor. That commitment to accuracy is a hallmark of his work. So when we step back and look at these two giants, Khan Academy and 3blue1brown, you see these two complementary models, right? Khan Academy is the scalable library model. Its strengths are comprehensive curriculum coverage, speed of production, relatively speaking, and broad accessibility. And 3blue1brown is the artisan documentary model. Its strengths are depth, beauty, profound conceptual insight, but focused on select topics. Quality over quantity. Neither approach is inherently superior to the other. They serve different but equally important educational needs, and often for the same learner. The library model, Khan Academy, is indispensable for curriculum support, for homework help, for methodically filling those knowledge gaps. The artisan model, 3blue1brown, is unparalleled for sparking that initial interest, for building deep and lasting intuition, and sometimes for fundamentally changing a learner's entire perspective on a subject they thought they hated. The very coexistence of both models demonstrates that the online learning ecosystem has evolved. It's become mature enough to cater to the full spectrum of the learning journey, from foundational skills to deep, insightful understanding. It's clear these channels, and others like them, have created this massive ripple effect. They've really redefined the learner experience itself. The most immediate impact, of course, is on the end users, the students, the self-learners, the just plain curious minds all around the globe. They haven't just provided a new resource, they've fundamentally redefined the very relationship between the learner and the learning process. At its core, it's a revolution of democratization. That's not too strong a word. By offering high-quality educational content for free to literally anyone with an internet connection, they've dismantled these long-standing geographical and financial barriers to learning. That is a radical act of educational equity when you think about it. A student in a remote rural village with just a basic smartphone can, in principle, access the same foundational math lessons as a student in a wealthy, well-funded suburban school district. That was unthinkable not long ago. And this accessibility, it leads directly to a crucial shift in power. From the institution to the individual. The self-paced nature of video learning transfers agency. This is so key. In a traditional classroom, the pace is generally set by the teacher for the whole class. Online, the learner is in control. You are in control. You can pause the video to reflect, to take notes. You can rewind it to clarify a confusing point. You can skip ahead through material you already know well. This empowers learners to become active directors of their own educational journey, not just passive recipients. You can use Khan Academy to methodically fill those Swiss cheese gaps in your knowledge, working through exercises until you get it. Or you can use 3blue1brown to explore a really complex topic like quantum mechanics or neural networks, just out of pure curiosity, even if it's not for a class. And this process, this self-directed learning, it fosters not just knowledge acquisition, but also these essential metacognitive skills. Things like self-discipline, time management, and the ability to accurately self-assess your own understanding. Do I really get this, or do I just think I get this? That's a crucial learning skill in itself. This shift from being a passive recipient to an active agent in your own learning, that's perhaps the most significant transformation brought about by these platforms. Beyond the anecdotes, though, Khan Academy in particular have invested heavily in rigorous measurement. They want to quantify the gains. So what does the actual evidence say about their efficacy? Does it work? Well, Khan Academy has built up this library of more than 50 efficacy studies to try and validate its model. And the results, pretty consistently, show positive learning outcomes. Their flagship annual study, which involves hundreds of thousands of students, found a clear correlation. Students who use Khan Academy for the recommended amount that's about 30 or more minutes per week, totaling at least 18 hours over a school year, they demonstrate learning gains roughly 20% higher than expected on standardized MVP growth assessments. That's a statistically significant gain. And crucially, this effect has been observed globally, not just in the US, suggesting it's not purely a cultural phenomenon. That's right. Large-scale randomized controlled trials, RCTs, the gold standard of research, have confirmed that integrating Khan Academy into learning environments leads to statistically significant improvements in math scores. And also, interestingly, more positive attitudes toward math. And this was seen in countries as diverse as the United States, Brazil, and El Salvador. Similarly, other correlational studies have shown that dedicated use of Khan Academy's free official SAT prep tool is linked to higher scores on that high-stakes college entrance exam in the US. More usage correlated with bigger score gains. So the takeaway seems to be it's not just casual, occasional use. There's definitely a dosage effect at play here. The real benefits come from consistent, dedicated engagement that meets a certain threshold. You have to put in the time. This insight is really crucial for educators implementing these tools. And it's further illuminated by another finding. Students within Khan Academy's formal school district partnerships, where it's integrated into the curriculum, are 10 times more likely to reach this effective usage threshold than independent grassroots users just finding it on their own. This provides pretty strong evidence that these tools are most powerful, not when they are simply made available, like putting books in a library, but when they are intentionally and systematically integrated into a structured learning environment, ideally with the guidance of teachers. It argues powerfully against the simplistic view of technology as some kind of magic bullet, a panacea. And instead, it supports a more sophisticated understanding of EdTech as a powerful tool that requires deliberate strategy and, yes, human guidance to be truly effective. It's a partnership. Now, 3blue1 operates on a different level, doesn't it? It's more about the construction of deep visual intuition. How do we even measure that? It seems much harder. Yeah, it's definitely harder to put a number on, but the impact is undeniably profound. You just have to read the comments on his videos. Viewers consistently describe them as sources of these incredible aha moments. Those moments that make complex ideas finally click into place. And this pedagogical approach, it's well-grounded in a wealth of cognitive science research. Studies consistently demonstrate that visual learning is a highly effective modality for understanding abstract concepts, especially mathematics and science. Visuals can bridge that often vast gap between abstract symbols on a page and concrete understanding in your head. They can improve engagement, make things more memorable, and help learners build stronger, more robust mental models of complex systems. Can I give you a concrete example of this intuition bridge I'm talking about? Absolutely. Take the area of a circle. Grant Sanderson doesn't just show you the formula for and say, memorize this. No, he visually unrolls the circle. Imagine peeling it into infinitesimally thin rings and laying them out to form a triangle with a base roughly equal to the circumference, 2ir, and a height equal to the radius r. Then the area of that triangle, half base times height, gives you a row. The formula becomes an intuitive, almost unforgettable consequence of a geometric transformation you just saw. Similarly, he doesn't just state Euler's identity, that famous, almost mystical equation, e to the power of I plus 1 temp ind. He takes you on this visual journey. He visualizes exponentiation not just as repeated multiplication, but as a transformation that stretches and rotates numbers in the complex plane. When you follow that transformation for e raised to the power I, you see it land perfectly. It makes a 1 on the real axis. So adding 1 naturally brings you to 0. That famous identity feels not like some weird magical spell, but an inevitable and beautiful geometric conclusion. That's incredible, isn't it? It's about fundamentally changing a learner's internal representation of the subject itself. For so many people, mathematics feels like this foreign language made of dry, arbitrary rules you just have to follow. 3blue1brown transforms it into this vibrant, interconnected, and deeply intuitive landscape. You see the connections, the beauty. This, I would argue, is a deeper and more foundational form of learning than just procedural fluency, just knowing how to plug numbers into formulas alone. It directly addresses that motivational deficit that Sanderson sees as the core problem in traditional math education. By revealing the inherent elegance and beauty of the subject, he inspires a genuine desire to learn more, not because you have to, but because it's fascinating. The immense popularity of his channel, with millions of subscribers, it highlights a significant and previously largely unmet demand within the traditional education system for precisely this kind of conceptual, intuition-focused learning. It also points maybe to a limitation in our standard educational metrics. While test scores are vital, of course, they may not capture this full spectrum of learning, a spectrum that must also include the development of genuine curiosity, intellectual wonder, and deep, lasting understanding. Some things are hard to measure, but incredibly valuable. Okay, but despite their revolutionary impact, both platforms have faced their share of critiques and limitations over the years. It's not all perfect. What are some of those? Well, early in its history, Khan Academy definitely faced some valid criticism regarding technical inaccuracies in some of its math and physics videos. Little mistakes here and there. To their credit, they responded directly. They systematically reviewed their massive content library, they expanded their faculty beyond just Sal, and they created this network of over 200 content experts to review and ensure rigor going forward. They addressed it. And the lack of interactivity, as we touched on before, that was a persistent critique for online learning generally, not just Khan Academy. Indeed. Many platforms, including Khan Academy in its earlier forms, were criticized for not having enough genuine interactivity, lacking that real-time, personalized feedback that a skilled human tutor can provide on the spot. And that, of course, is precisely the challenge that the new AI-powered Khanmigo is now specifically designed to address, trying to bring that Socratic dialogue, that personalized guidance, to scale. But perhaps the most significant danger, and this is one that really all digital learning faces, especially passive video consumption, is what psychologists sometimes call the illusion of understanding. This is a really critical point to grasp. The high production value and the compelling clarity of, say, a 3blue1brown animation, or even the straightforward simplicity of a Khan Academy tutorial, can easily lead a viewer to feel like they have completely mastered a concept. It seems so clear when they explain it. However, this passive consumption of information is fundamentally not the same as active learning. It feels good, but it might not stick. As many students have discovered the hard way, it is one thing to watch a video and feel that it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I got this. And it's quite another thing entirely to be faced with a blank sheet of paper later and find yourself completely unable to solve a related problem from scratch. That feeling of, I thought I understood this, is common. So it highlights this critical distinction between just consuming content and actually constructing knowledge in your own mind. They're not the same thing. How do Sal Khan and Grant Sanderson address this known danger? Well, both creators are acutely aware of this challenge. They talk about it. Khan's solution is primarily structural. The Khan Academy platform is designed so that the videos are inextricably linked to practice exercises and mastery checks. The system basically requires students to prove their understanding by actively solving problems correctly before they're allowed to move on. It forces active engagement. Sanderson's solution is more philosophical and explicit in his messaging. He repeatedly reminds his audience that his videos are a supplement to, not a substitute for, active work. His mantra, again, is crystal clear. Problems, problems, problems. Learning comes from solving things. He hammers this point home. This underscores the necessary symbiotic relationship between these amazing online resources and active practice. The videos provide the explanation, the context, they build the intuition. But the durable, lasting learning happens when the student logs off the video and engages in what's sometimes called the productive struggle of solving problems themselves. That's where the real learning solidifies. Beyond the individual learner, these channels have also profoundly reshaped the broader educational and even industrial landscape. Their influence goes way beyond just views and subscribers. Absolutely. Khan Academy's emergence, in particular this high-quality, comprehensive, and entirely free educational resource, it sent shockwaves through the nascent ed-tech industry back in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Its nonprofit, philanthropically funded model was truly revolutionary at a time when most online learning ventures were strictly for-profit. It's widely credited, in fact, with helping pioneer the massive open online course, or MOOC, movement. Andrew Ng, the co-founder of Coursera, one of the biggest MOOC platforms, explicitly cited Sal Khan as a key inspiration for starting Coursera. So in effect, Khan Academy essentially set free as the baseline expectation for a vast amount of high-quality educational content online. Yeah, that created immense competitive pressure on for-profit companies. Any new ed tech startup suddenly had to articulate a really clear value proposition to justify charging money when a pretty good alternative was available for free. And this had the knock-on effect, arguably, of raising the quality bar for the entire industry. You had to be good to compete. Furthermore, Khan Academy's evolution over time helped define what is now a dominant business model in the space, the freemium or hybrid model. They offer a comprehensive library of core content for free, which builds a massive user base and establishes credibility. Then, they generate revenue by offering premium value-added services on top of that free foundation. For Khan Academy, as we discussed, this includes things like advanced analytics and implementation support for school districts, and now the Khanmigo AI Tutor as a subscription service for families. This model seems to elegantly balance the social impact mission with the need for financial sustainability. It allows them to keep the core free while funding innovation. The success of Khan Academy and 3blue1brown has also paved the way for this rich and diverse ecosystem of educational creators, particularly in STEM fields, but really across all subjects now. It's proven beyond doubt that there's no single best way to teach online. There's room for many different styles and approaches. What's fascinating now is seeing this whole host of what you might call super educative channels that have risen up, each with its own unique pedagogical style, its own production philosophy. They form this incredibly diverse ecosystem. Take Veritasium, for example, created by Derek Muller. He actually has a PhD in physics education research. His channel often functions like mini science documentaries, and a key focus is confronting common misconceptions head-on. He found through his research that simply presenting correct information often isn't enough. Sometimes it can even backfire if someone holds a strong misconception. You have to first surface the misconception, acknowledge it, and then carefully dismantle it with evidence. His videos often feature expert interviews and real-world conversations, like man-on-the-street interviews, revealing those misconceptions. And then there is Smarter Every Day, hosted by the aerospace engineer Destin Sandlin. His channel is just driven by this palpable sense of wonder and curiosity about the physical world. Yes, his signature technique, the thing he's famous for, is the use of high-speed cameras. He slows down physical phenomena, everything from how a helicopter generates lift to how a cat always lands on its feet, making invisible physics suddenly visible and understandable. His approach feels deeply personal and experimental. He takes the viewer along on his own journey of discovery. It's very engaging. Then there's Kurzgesagt in a Nutshell. That's a German design studio, and they tackle huge, complex topics: the universe, evolution, black holes, pandemics. Their defining feature is their distinctive, vibrant, flat design animation style. It's instantly recognizable, and they use it to tell these compelling, well-researched stories. Unlike the single creator model of Khan or 3blue1brown, Kurzgesagt operates as a full studio. Their process is team-based and incredibly rigorous. It involves deep research, often using primary sources, extensive expert consultation, meticulous scripting and storyboarding, illustration, animation, and even a custom-composed soundtrack for every single video. It's like a mini Pixar for science explainers. And Mark Rober, the former NASA and Apple engineer. He's known for perfectly blending entertainment with engineering principles. Rober has built this massive following with his large-scale, often viral engineering projects. Things like intricate obstacle courses for squirrels in his backyard, or his famous glitter bomb traps for package thieves. His explicit philosophy is to hide the vegetables. He embeds fundamental principles of physics and engineering within a project that's so fun and engaging and over the top that the audience learns almost by accident while being entertained. He's even productized this approach now with Crunch Labs, which is a subscription box service delivering hands-on engineering projects for kids each month, taking the online learning offline. So think about this. A single learner today can construct this incredibly rich, personalized, multifaceted educational journey just by drawing from this entire ecosystem. It's like building your own personalized curriculum on the fly. Exactly. You might use Khan Academy for that systematic curriculum review and practice. Then you turn to 3blue1brown when you need a deep conceptual breakthrough on a tough math topic. Maybe you consult Veritasium to challenge your existing assumptions and uncover misconceptions you didn't even know you had. You follow Smarter Every Day to see these abstract concepts applied in the messy real world. You can engage Kurzgesagt for a holistic, big-picture view of a grand scientific topic. And then you get entertained and maybe inspired by Mark Rober to see science and engineering applied in the most creative, sometimes ridiculous ways. This allows for a truly personalized and multimodal learning experience. It's far more varied, dynamic, and arguably more engaging than any single monolithic curriculum could ever hope to provide. The learner is now the curator. So for anyone out there inspired by these stories, maybe thinking about joining this movement, there's actually a practical blueprint we can sketch out for launching your own educational channel, drawing lessons directly from these pioneers. First, you need a foundational strategy. Start by defining your niche. Don't try to boil the ocean. Don't just say, I'll teach biology. Drill down. Maybe it's AP biology exam preparation specifically for visual learners, or organic chemistry mechanisms explained with analogies. A clear niche lets you speak directly to a specific audience's needs, and it helps you build loyalty faster. Then, really identify that audience. Who exactly are you trying to teach? What are their specific pain points, their prior knowledge? This understanding dictates your tone, your examples, everything. Finally, analyze the landscape. Before you jump in, study the successful channels already in your niche. See what they do well, but also, critically, identify gaps. What aren't they covering? What different approach could you take? This isn't about copying. It's about understanding the existing standards and finding your unique angle, your unique voice. Okay, once that strategy feels solid, then you can move to content development. Every single video needs a script, not necessarily word for word, but a clear plan. This isn't to make you sound robotic. It's to ensure your explanations are logical, concise, and hit all the key points. A simple scaffold often works well. Start with a hook to grab attention immediately. Provide some context. Why does this matter? Deliver the main content, broken down into digestible segments. Offer a quick summary or recap, and maybe include a clear call to action. What should the viewer do next? Plan your visuals carefully. Maybe use a storyboard. Make sure your visuals actively support the narration and are purposeful, not just decorative eye candy. Do they clarify? Do they distract? Keep each video focused and reasonably concise. Aim for one core idea per video. If a topic is complex, break it into a series of shorter videos. Under 15 minutes is often a good target. And finally, adopt a conversational tone. Speak with genuine enthusiasm and passion for your subject. It builds confidence in you and keeps viewers engaged. Production and technology. These don't need to be huge barriers to entry anymore. Not at all. But prioritize your audio. As Grant Sanderson himself wisely advises, get a good microphone and learn how to use it properly. Viewers will often forgive mediocre video quality, especially early on, but they absolutely will not tolerate bad audio, buzzing, echoing, muffled voices. Clear, crisp voiceover is pretty much non-negotiable. Start with simple equipment. A modern smartphone camera is surprisingly capable. Combine that with a decent external microphone and some good lighting. Even natural light from a window can work wonders. You don't need a professional studio to begin. Choose your visual tools based on your content and your skills. Simple screen recordings using software like OBS or Camtasia, or even well-designed PowerPoint or Keynote slides can be highly effective for many subjects. If you want animations, you have options ranging from user-friendly online tools like Vyond to powerful professional software like Adobe After Effects. Or, if you're ambitious and mathematically inclined, you can even tackle the programmatic control offered by something like Manum. Choose tools that fit your message and workflow. And then, how do you actually grow and build a community around your channel? Launching the first video is really just the beginning of the journey. Optimize for search. Especially early on, many of your viewers will likely discover you through YouTube search. So create content that directly answers specific questions people are typing into that search bar. Use clear, descriptive titles and keywords. Use playlists strategically. Organize your related videos into logical sequences or mini-courses. This encourages viewers to watch more of your content, binge watching, which keeps them on your channel longer and sends positive signals to the YouTube algorithm. And critically, build a community. Don't just broadcast. Engage with your audience in the comments section. Answer their questions when you can. Solicit feedback on your videos. Make them feel like they're part of a learning community, not just passive consumers. This interaction builds loyalty and trust like nothing else. And finally, a key piece of practical advice. Think about monetizing beyond just YouTube ads. Relying solely on AdSense revenue is often precarious and usually doesn't pay much, especially at first. The most sustainable path often involves diversifying your income streams. Once you've built an audience and earned their trust by providing consistent value for free, you can then offer additional value in other forms. Things like channel memberships on YouTube for exclusive content or early access. Digital downloads like study guides, notes, or practice problem sets. Maybe sponsorships from relevant brands that align with your content and audience. Affiliate marketing for tools or books you genuinely recommend. Or even offering more direct services like one-on-one tutoring, group workshops, or coaching. The educational channel itself can effectively become the top of a funnel for a broader educational enterprise. The free, high-quality videos build your brand, showcase your expertise, and cultivate that loyal community, which then allows you to offer premium products and services for deeper value, creating a sustainable model that can potentially turn a passion for teaching into a meaningful and impactful career online. What an incredible journey we've taken today, eh? Exploring the really profound impact of Sal Khan and Grant Sanderson. They truly did change not just what we learn online, but fundamentally how we learn, each through their own unique and, as we've seen, highly complementary approaches. They and the vibrant ecosystem of creators they helped inspire continue to empower learners all across the globe. They provide this amazing diversity of pedagogical approaches, and they continue to innovate in really profound ways, now even incorporating cutting-edge AI. It's really a testament to the power of individual initiative when it's coupled effectively with technology. So that leaves us with a final thought to ponder. As education continues this rapid evolution, increasingly powered by AI, fueled by ever more diverse creators online, what responsibility do we as learners have in all this? How do we actively seek out and engage with these powerful new tools, not just to consume information passively, but to truly master understanding? I really encourage you to explore the channels we've discussed today if you haven't already. Go watch a Khan Academy video on a topic you're shaky on. Experience a 3blue1brown video on something complex. Engage with the content actively. Take notes, try the practice problems, discuss it. Truly make the knowledge your own. And perhaps even consider what role you might play, big or small, in this ever-expanding, ever-evolving landscape of online learning. Thanks for joining this deep dive.